It took a little while to show up. Okay, I don't have the camera, but I think we're up.
Looks up to me.
Yeah, I just don't know why I'm not getting the camera.
Oh, not us. The picture of us is not there.
Ah, there. I see why. This is left over from down in Austin. It was still set up for done. Yay! Look at that. Okay, and look, I can do it without having stuff on the screen now this time.
Nice.
All right, yay, guys. All right, hopefully you all hear us. Everything's fine. I've been testing the audio and all that stuff.
Can people hear us?
Yeah, they'll just ignore us.
Sweet.
Okay. All right, so
Sannio. It's a submarine mic.
there we
Yes,
go.
we hear. Yep. Okay, good.
All right, cool. All right, so here we are. This is release 116, and this is Shroud of the Avatar, free-to-play game. And we do a monthly release of content and or bug fixes. This month's was a content cycle, and we have released some frogs into the world, which of course you can see some frogs, already tamed frogs, right on screen. And we have an additional, what would you call it, a sub-scene or?
Nested scene is what I usually call them.
There you go, nested scene.
Nested scene is
Harmony.
a scene that, in order to get to the scene, you have to go through another scene, not just the overworld. So like any kind of like dungeon or sewers or things like that, that's a nested scene.
Gotcha. All right, there you go. We'll see what happens with the advertisement baloney this time around. I assume we're probably gonna have the same problems, but I don't know. I noticed a pattern when I started going over the Lord British birthday stream that we did last month, or earlier in the month, I guess I should say. That we had gotten the first hour, I think it was the first hour without advertisements. Then all of a sudden they started pushing in advertisements on us.
An ad actually just popped up for me. Yes,
it did.
But it's a bottom ad. It's like a footer that sort of compresses our picture.
God. Yeah. Well, so we'll see what happens.
If all the ads are like this, I don't really mind that. It's the ads that sort of just like the worst ads. Sorry, Twitch, but the worst ads is when I just switch to somebody's channel and you pop up with like a string of ads, like maybe like 8 ads in a row or something terrible like that. It's awful.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to stay on that channel. You make me want to leave that channel, Twitch.
Yep. And we'll see what happens. The biggest thing for me is the fact that it's doing something new and unusual, which is splitting up our streams into separate files, which it wasn't.
Oh, right. I remember that.
Yeah, and that pisses me off more than anything else, because to put it up on YouTube without having people to be clicking through, and they're randomly timed. If they were all like 10 minutes or know, all half an hour each or something, that wouldn't be that big of a deal. But they're random, and it's when we archive it up onto YouTube, it just makes it very uncomfortable. So
we could try to keep this within an hour. Then
yeah, well, hey,
like that'll happen.
Yeah, exactly, right. Sure. So
but anyway,
yeah, whatever happens. We'll deal with it. And yes, I see that people are suggesting we go over to Kick, and there are other platforms and stuff like that, which we'll talk about a few things along those lines anyway. But I don't know. I still want to see if those things are going to survive and stabilize, and if this is a situation where they're going to realize that these new things that these people are trying are not, like Twitch is trying, is not going to work right, or if they fix it all. But as I said, Shroud of the Avatar, free-to-play game. We have about 450 scenes to explore. You can follow us on here on Twitch. Well, for the moment on Twitter at Shroud of Avatar, on Facebook, and on our website, of course, using RSS feeds. Uh, our official updates and announcements are made on the forums, an announcement forum that is broadcast into Discord. So join us in Discord as well. That's actually probably the best place to be. So today we expect to have two prizing giveaways, unless somebody does a hype train for each level hype train completed, up to 5 levels, of course. We'll add an extra prize giveaway. And if we do happen to extend the stream over 2 hours, then we'll have another set of giveaways, for one for each, base hour, like that.
So what's the phrase you have to say?
Oh, the phrase leapfrog. Today's leapfrog.
Leapfrog.
Yeah,
2 words.
two words.
Right?
Yep.
So you say it in any in-game chat channel, and that puts you in the running for the prizing, where we give away stuff to a bunch of players.
There you go. Excellent.
And usually you get the item pretty quickly. It's an in-game item, like a decoration or something. And
yes, Laney, aka Justin, does a really good job of getting those out pretty much right away.
Yeah, and you'll get it in the in-game mail.
Yes, exactly.
Very convenient.
So let's move on to some brief.
Wait, let's introduce ourselves.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's do that. All right, I am Ravalox, aka Stephen Reinen. I am acting as the operations manager, community manager, build master, I guess is what they call it, scrum master, and sometimes designer. Over to you, sir.
I'm Keith Quinn, and no man is my master. I go by Sannio on the forums, and I guess here, and I'm guy in charge of quests and level design, world building, all that sort of like content design stuff lately these days. I'll also do stuff like implement player-owned towns when they're new or some have to be changed. By the way, a little side note with player-owned towns, don't forget, if you put in a request for a change for a player-owned town, if it's only a couple days before the release or even after the release, it may not get in for that release. We'll try our hardest to get it in, but definitely you want to sort of put in that request earlier in the month for your best chances of getting in the changes. There you go.
Yep, absolutely. So as I was saying, let's go on and do some a little bit of housekeeping here. So in the patch notes, and we'll talk about the patch notes, of course, for the bulk of this. In the patch notes, I mentioned in a bullet that we had pulled down the widget off of, or the widgets off of the website for Twitter. I heard somebody say today that, oh, why don't you just put on the widget that works? There's no widget that works. Twitter has actually broken the ability to embed tweets onto platforms without being logged in to their service. So the actual embed, HTML embed, does not work anymore. I have filed a complaint along with a whole bunch of other people, and including hospitals and libraries and all sorts of other nonprofits that
for people who don't know what Twitter is,
that.
it's like a quick publishing messaging service that typically has been public for its whole time, but with its new owner who has making a lot of what I think is questionable changes, it's like experimenting with a lot of stuff, and some of it includes not being able to see tweets unless you're logged in, tweets being like each little message. And then, so basically, those changes have sort of blocked any of that stuff from appearing, and
right.
sort of we're exploring other options. We're taking out the stuff that's broken.
Yeah, exactly. And if they fix it, fine, we'll put it back. We'll have to give them some amount of time for this, and if they don't, then we may just have to abandon their platform and look at a replacement. Chris Pallet had mentioned Threads. Again, platforms that are too new, like the other one, like the one for Twitch, which I keep forgetting the name. That's a problem in itself.
There's Threads, there's Blue Sky.
Yeah, so there's a number of these things. So I just want to make sure that they're stable before we move over to something new.
Yeah, no one's the clear successor to Twitter. Twitter is
Yeah.
still like the big dog, even as broken as it is.
Exactly.
Mastodon is another one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and that was actually discussed internally as well. So, and we have some time to figure it out. I'll still post tweets because the button is still a tweet button, even though they're X now. I'll still post up there when we have something going on, like a patch or the login rewards are coming in or whatever. But
Bane Rampage and Belladonna Rose point out focus on Discord.
Yeah,
maybe that's an option.
Right, and that's one thing I wanted to note here is that the even though the embeds on the website were completely broken, I had noted that Discord partially works, and what it is because we're paying for a webhook service that is actually logging into Twitter and then is pulling our tweets and putting them into Discord. However, that is not completely working because the little box that shows what the name of the tweet is about and the information is not showing up. Now it only shows up with a URL link, and that's it. So everything is kind of broken, and this is all Twitter's fault.
Time of chaos.
Yeah. So
we're trying to ride through it as best we can.
Exactly. So I just want that's why we're making those changes. Obviously, we feel it would be better to not have those things up there that just say there's nothing yet here to see, even though we have tweets up there. And again, I'm aware that some people claim and think that we don't send out tweets, but we do, and it's just that they're not showing up on our website. So with that said, and then
Vulcan Jedi says he suggests MySpace.
There you go. Yeah.
And also AOL chat rooms.
Why not? Maybe we could bring them back.
Yeah. GeoCities.
Oh, geez, I remember
Angel
GeoCities. Okay, so and then you had touched on the pot updates, so that's covered as well. So if we go in and look at our release notes here, just bring this up for a second. One of these days I'll get more organized. Yes. Okay. So we definitely have some extended conversations that we'll have here about the Port Harmony cistern and frogs. I just want to see if there was anything else specifically of note that I should talk about.
While you're looking at that, should I talk about frogs?
Yeah. Let's talk about frogs because that's more compartmentalized. I think the cistern's going to take a bunch of time.
Okay. So we have a new type of frog, and actually, let me see if I can sort of get the quick list.
I see we're both doing the same thing.
Okay. So David, or Devil Cult, our programmer, found some frogs that he liked. He was able to set them up for use, and now they're in the game. We have a couple different types of frogs, and not that different from each other, but we have some. Where's my list? We have some tier 5 frogs, which are the poison frogs, like the green poison dart frog, red poison dart frog, blue poison dart frog. The blue poison dart frog are not in the game yet. They have a special use, so just put those aside. The ones that you'll see most commonly, the green poison dart frog, and sometimes there will be red poison dart frogs with it. They hop around. They're sort of the size of a large dog, maybe, let's say. And you can tame them, so that's pretty cool too. If the scene, so those are tier 5. We have a tier system if you don't know our difficulty system. So tier 5 is sort of like the old sort of high level area, but now that we're in episode 2 and every player is sort of like very powerful now, we have like a tier 6, 8, 10, up to 15 or even higher. So that's sort of like the scale we have. So higher threat scenes such as Tanglemire in Mistrender, the episode 2 area, they will have some of the tier 5 common frogs, but they'll also have sometimes a tier 10 green frog Goliath. Most of the time, the big frogs will be that, but there'll also be 2 alternatives, which are a tier 12 brown frog Goliath and a tier 12 pale frog Goliath. So those frogs can be seen in the higher threat areas, and they're all compatible. I think only the poison frogs are. Correct me if I'm wrong, Stephen. Only the poison frogs are tameable. The tier 5, the lower level.
Yeah, that's what my understanding.
Okay, and that's how it's going to stay. We also have. They're just called frogs. I call them tiny frogs. They're about the size like a rabbit. They're sort of like a rabbit or squirrel substitute. They are tiny little non-combat things. Well, I say non-combat. They're passive. You can go and kill them if you want. You can loot them. From the big frogs, you have a really good chance of getting it's called a haunch or frog legs. The tiny frogs, there's a really low chance to get one. Eventually, you can sort of get these things and use them in a new recipe we have from some NPC merchants, which are fried frog legs, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, I think so.
So that's kind of like the whole set. If you're looking for the frogs, where's my list? So frogs so far have been added to a few scenes. We'll add them to more later on. They've been added to Tangamire, East Sanctus Forest, East Veiled Swamp, and Midges Ruins. Both the large frogs and the tiny frogs have been added to those scenes. Definitely we'll be adding tiny frogs to more places, like a lot of swamps and whatever. Any place that's sort of like moist, like maybe it's got a pond or riverside or river. Those are candidates for the tiny frogs for sure. So if you want to get the recipe, it's in. There are 3 places to get the recipe. One of the merchants in Tangamire has it. One of the merchants in Solania has it, and Miss Render, the episode 2 area, has a wandering merchant that sometimes appears as a random encounter on the overworld. Her name is Refna. She will also have that recipe. So there's 3 places to get it. 2 in the episode 2 area and 1 in Novia, the original main content.
Now, one thing to throw out here as well, that the tiny frogs of level 1, squish them real easy, squishy frogs.
Tier 0, even worse than tier 0.
Tier 0, yeah, there you go.
Critters.
We do have a task to make them tameable, but they wouldn't be combat pets if we did that. They would just be like kind of deco pets. So just to say, if the task is in the system, then we'll have to look at that and see what's going on. But if we do it, they will not be combat.
Yeah, they are, by the way, tiny versions of the green frog. Green.
Tiny. This one here, right? Ooh.
Actually, I forget which one I did.
The dart frog?
I actually don't remember.
Gotcha.
Yeah, we go through so many options, and I'm eager to turn all of them into variations, and then I end up going with one, and then sometimes I forget which one it is.
Okay.
So that's frogs. Go fight some frogs, tame some frogs, loot the frogs, skin them.
All right.
Make some frog legs. And then you recipe.
Make some froggy friends.
Yep.
So in the patch notes, there's a ton of bullets in here of things that we've fixed and changes that we've made. One of the things that I should note is that the mapping project continues on. That was one of the things I wanted to do. I think we're down below 50 maps left that need to be done. That's out of, I have a total of around 450 scenes, but as far as the map's concerned, it's probably more around 300 maps. So moving into Verdantis, and I did take a look ahead. That's when last month's newsletter I had said that uh, the expedition after this month's map set would be going into Verdantis because there's a ton of stuff that needs to be done in there. So I think I saw something like 15 maps that need to be updated and or corrected or made in Verdantis. That's this month is going to be a long one. Yeah, I have a checklist. It's just I don't want to. Well, I could bring it up now. So if you guys want to wait, let's see here. Maps. Yeah, there we go. Scene map report. So
Verdantis is a region in Novia, for those who don't know. We don't always broadcast the names of the regions. It comes up now and again. Like if you've been to Arders, you may have seen some of the NPCs talk about the perennial coast. So that's that region in the Sultan, Arteris, Celestis kind of area. And Verdantis is on the other side of Novia, to the western side, which includes Vertis, Verdantis Mines, Point West. If you're familiar with the area, anything, I think from like includes Harvest. I think Harvest is there. It might be in on the edge of North Palace, but from Harvest down to
and it is labeled on the Novia map too.
The in-game map.
Yeah, the in-game map. So there are 11 maps that I need to do between now and the end of August when we have our next release, release 117. There are exactly 50 maps left to do. So, I'll get my target is to get the 11 done, and I also need to do a couple of like the Cistern is going to get a map card. So there's a few things that need to get done with that as well. So
it's an underground area. It doesn't need
exactly. Well,
I guess if you have like a sort of a map filler.
Exactly. So those the map cards. Yeah. So they're like Pokemon. Collect them all. Each scene that doesn't, each scene that's not intended to have a map will have a map card, placeholder card, and each one of those has some would say a witty saying on it. So every time that you're in like a dungeon or something, open up your map. It's just out of curiosity and see what it has to say. Yeah, I know. Belladonna Rose says, "How do we collect them?" No, you can't collect them that way. It's just, I would expect that somebody at some point are going to start putting all those on the wiki. So anyway, with all that said. There's more to those cards that meet the eye as well. So some of you guys that might be a little bit more sharp might pick up on something in there. But that's more for later. So that's the maps. And I mean, there's a ton of stuff. I'm going to leave it to you guys to actually look at the bullet posts on the release notes here, where we fixed a whole bunch of stuff. There was we'll say a load balancing. Would that be the right way to term this? At with the wyverns, the colors of the wyverns, we moved those around a little bit because they were not quite getting the right visibility. Yeah. Right.
Some are more common than others, which is okay, especially if the plan is to add more wyverns to more scenes. And have certain colors appear in certain scenes. It didn't really pan out that way. So what we did to make sure that we're covered is to redistribute the colors of the wyverns between the two types of random encounters where they will appear. Yeah. So it's kind of evenly spread now. So yeah, if you have go to I forget what it is, the Plains version that has the wyverns, then you have a 3 of the 4 colors are swapped now. Whereas if you go to the Snowy Tundra version, then 1 of the 4 colors is swapped. So right. Also, I should point out that there are 8 wyvern colors. So that's why I mentioned 4 and 4.
Gotcha. All right. Yep. And one last thing to note on here as well is that Dark Caverns, I think, is pending to come into the game, the POT. That was the notes actually say an imminent patch. So what that is the patch one, our follow up patch to the release, depending on what was going on. We don't have any critical issues going on, so we'll let that float over the weekend, and probably going to be a patch built for Tuesday. That's when the login rewards go in. I believe that's the first, right? Checking. Yes, Tuesday is the first. So basically, Monday night into Tuesday morning, somewhere around 2 o'clock in the morning on Central Time, we'll be putting out the patch that will include Dark Caverns, and a couple of, well, I guess a handful of bug fixes actually, right? Some stuff for the cistern and a few other items that we had done at the last minute there as well. Yes, that's right. When the night owls are awake, that's what Flair said.
So confirming the phrase is leapfrog, 2 words. Praise and spirituality asks. So
Yep.
just confirming that. I just typed it as well so that everyone sort of has that locked in.
Excellent. Okay, so actually, I think what we'll do is we'll move on to the cistern, talk about the cistern a little bit here, and then we could
We
do.
gonna zone over there to Port Harmony.
Yeah, all right. I'll send over. I'll load over there.
Okay. So Port Harmony Cistern is the new scene that we're releasing, that we have released with this release. It's now out in the wild. You guys can get to it. There's a limitation, though. There is an NPC in the area, a watersmith named Honora Jenkins. So she's got 2 quests similarly themed back to back that you have to do first before she will invite you to do the quest that relates to the cistern. So I will go to where Nora Jenkins is so everyone can see where she is. And then Ravalox, you can sort of follow me. You might know where she is, but follow me if you know.
Yeah, I'll just follow you. In fact,
Okay, I'm right next to her.
Yeah.
If you've been to Port Harmony, so Port Harmony is an episode 2 scene. It's in Mesprender. It's like right now it'll be probably the first place you go if you haven't been here already. Near the docks is a marketplace, and she is on the far side of the marketplace if you land at the docks. If you're coming in from the overworld area, then you'll probably be on the other side of the map. So you want to go towards the water, and you'll see like the main docks in the center of the shoreline area, and once again she'll be next to the marketplace, waving her hand, I think. So this is Nora Jenkins. She's a good egg. She's a little bit in over her head. So she needs your help. First, she'll need your help with something's wrong with the water pressure. There's apparently a lot of like pipes and stuff that are important to the water system that Port Harmony uses. And so the first question, she'll ask you to go on her behalf over to the jail and try to work your way in to adjust the water pressure in this station within the jail walls. She was denied, and she's sort of stressed because they used to have a minister of coins who was in charge of like all the support staff and systems in Port Harmony, but he's mysteriously missing, and no one's really giving her the credibility that she deserves. So when you go help with that situation, then her second quest will be, not to get too spoilerific, not that it's that detailed, but their second quest will be that something's still off with the water pressure, and she wants you to go to 3 or 4 water stations around Port Harmony and adjust them. And once you finish that one, if you've waited about an hour after that, she won't give you the third quest right away. There's like a little bit of a buffer. I don't want you to sort of do too much back to back. there's like a little bit of like about an hour break that you take, and then you can come back to her, and she'll say she'll want you to go into the Port Harmony cistern, and once you're in there, she'll meet you, and then she'll give you extra instructions on what you will hopefully help with because you've been so helpful already. So that's what'll happen. I see Elwood Moon right next to us, probably talking to Watersmith Jenkins right here. And so Ravalox, you and I can cheat to actually get into Port Harmony cistern. But what we're going to do is we're going to pretend we just picked up the quest from her.
Right.
And then we're going to run this way. There are 2 entrances into Port Harmony cistern, both like a special hatch. Both hatches will say they're stuck if you don't have this quest. Here is the first hatch. This is the eastern hatch. If you have picked up her quest, this important quest that's sending us this cistern, you can get into this one. We'll call this the starter hatch, but you won't be able to get into the western hatch. That's we'll call it the exit hatch. So you want to go into this entrance hatch that for starting the quest, the starter hatch. So let me cheat, and then we'll go into Port Harmony cistern, and then after a moment, Ravalox, you'll be able to follow me just to make sure that you end up in the right spot.
Yeah.
Unless you go in there already, in which case that's fine.
Right.
Merrick Dragon says they will say they are stuck, but are they really? Well, they're stuck. She actually will say something like that it's kind of stuck, but if you pull hard, you can get in, or something like that. I am in the wrong spot. Hold on a second. So we're gonna there's gonna be spoilers in this, by the way. And give me 2 seconds. All right, you can come to me now, Ravalox.
All right, cross my fingers that it actually brings me to you.
So the general theme of Port Harmony cistern is water related. It's got kind of a puzzle. It has a special little quality to it. Ravalox and I are also going to cheat when to just sort of skip past the puzzle. But we'll tell you how it works. You'll see a little bit of how it works, and then we're just going to cheat because we're cheating cheaters to cheat.
Yeah, I think I'm not standing next to you, so I think it put me in the wrong spot. 1 second.
Okay. So visibly, the theme is mostly sewers, tunnels, and rooms. There are a few cave tunnel areas.
There we go.
So I'm next to the ladder, which is, we just came down that ladder from the hatch, and if we want to leave to that same hatch, we would go up there. And now we're walking around here. There are some doors on the side. Some of the doors, I'll tell you, they're locked. Some are open. You're allowed to explore a little bit. We have some gadgets right here, such as this water purification console. There's several of these throughout the scene. Here's Jenkins, the watersmith, and she will give you the details on what to do when you're here. There was something I was supposed to say about. Towards the end, remind me about the high pressure water, Stephen, if you can remember it. So we're actually going to sort of run through the whole scene, but cheat so we don't do like the puzzle or fight bad guys and stuff like that. We're not going to do the quest. You guys can do the quest.
Yep.
Flare Miyamoto says push the button. I guess the button over here. I'm going to push the button. Turns on the fire. So you do some of these things with this console, and things change on the console. It's kind of a fun little thing, and you'll learn more about it maybe if you come here. We'll let the players sort of explore that. So there are dry areas like we're in right now. It's got a lot of storage stuff, nets, torches, some natural lighting. This is an example of a door that has a lock. As we go through the scene, we might find or loot certain, I think it's a long name, fragile Port Harmony cistern storage key. We might find those. If we find those keys, we can open up these locks. There might also be some chests with locks. We can use the same key to open the chests. If you saw on the water purification console, there was like a little lock on the panel that will also take the same key. So very convenient. One key is used for all these systems. Aurelius LH says, when can I make or buy that machine as part of my steampunk house plan? I don't think you will. It's specific to the scene. So, we'll just, you'll probably have to just come here to fiddle with it if you want. That device seems a bit koboldish, doesn't it? Says Belladonna Rose. Probably so. One of the things I kept in mind is I knew there was going to be pipes and some mechanisms here. So some of the stuff is magic. So some maybe not Jenkins, probably the minister is not around, did some special watersmith stuff to make certain water things happen in this scene. But I think they probably have a good relationship. They're not super far away from the kobolds who live in Grusk. So potentially there might have been some trades along the way on the road from, made some caravans maybe travel the road between Port Harmony and Grusk, and there might have been some trades there. Definitely kobolds are known for their switches and spinning things and stuff like that. So it seems reasonable. Although if you go to Grusk, they don't really sort of purify or keep the, there's like a big cloud of dirty air over the whole place. So it's they don't seem to work together. But maybe kobolds will like make anything for money. Anyway, so over here we have a magic barrier. Back on track. We have a magic barrier, and beyond it, we can't really see what it is. Some sort of like special environment back there. If Stephen, if you'll turn around, take a look at this shiny crystal button over here. There's a little sign underneath that says Mystical Barrier Switch. We press that, turns yellow. Let's look at the mystical barrier again, and now it's gone. Boop. So there's magical energies that keep us dry where we are, and then if we go through it, we find ourselves in an underwater area. This is me experimenting, I guess, as a level designer. We have surface. So, little side note, little sort of pop-up video sort of action right now. We have surface swimming in our game. In general, there's 3 types of swimming in games. There's no swimming at all. Surface swimming, like we have, where your character, once he hits the water, he sort of usually turns sideways and is able to swim just on the surface of the water, but you can't go under. And then some games allow you to go underneath the water. We don't have that underneath the water, and if we ever did, it would cause a lot of changes. So this is kind of me faking underwater swimming. So now that we're underwater, we can see that we have a cold effect on us, which potentially, depending upon our health level and such, Belladonna Rose is cheering on. I did fantastic on this and love it. Yep. Rav, turn on your lights.
All right.
If you can't,
I can't.
You can come out. So this door that we opened is now just like open for the whole time that we'll be here. Our goal in this water-filled cavern, this is called the Southern Water-filled Cavern. Our goal is actually to get through the quest that Jenkins has given us. Is she has to stay here and operate some controls, but there's water pressure issues in this cavern and also a northern cavern that's beyond another dry area past the far door. So what we need to do is sort of adjust the pressure simply by closing these caps on some of these pipes. If we close the 6 caps in this water-filled cavern in front of us, the far door will open. And then we make it to the next cavern, and it'll be similar 6 caps that have to be closed to get to the far side there. And then after that, then we kind of have to look to find out, like, what's really the source of this. She thinks it's sabotage. So we'll kind of fake a little bit of that, but then we'll cheat. So come back in the water-filled cavern. So now that we're swimming around, we have a cold effect on us, which is taking away our focus, taking away our health potentially. So if you're a low-tier character, sort of joining with your buddies, you might have a big problem coming through here. And I heard that there's also like some spells or skills you can have active that will accelerate the dying process. But if you're quick enough or powerful enough, it shouldn't really be a problem. Now, I'll note that this cold effect is temporary. I have in mind, and I need help setting up, I have in mind that it will be replaced by a holding your breath rune or holding your breath effect. So you will sort of come in the water and you'll be okay for like, say, around 2 minutes. And then after that 2 minute track, you'll start suffocating super fast. And you better have finished the puzzle or you better back out back to the dry air space. But for now, we're using this cold rune, and it seems to work okay. All right, so we are in a big underground cavern. There are these valves right here. You can either click on it, or you can just sort of bump into it. And once it's closed, it seals up, the light goes green, you know it's good. And there are 6 of them. And we'll keep swimming this way. We're just going to skip. We're not going to do all 6. There are some crystals as lights. There are some fish around here. And by the way, I know that some of these fish pop out into the dry area sometimes. I don't understand the mystery of these fish. Kathy says, no water breath spell like in U9. No, there's not a water breath spell. Like I said, I want that suffocation quality. You are underwater, and I want to suffocate. Characters, the avatars don't have any sort of water breathing spell. So the NPCs don't have either.
Yep.
So sheesh vicious says Inufed. And yes, that is what I want. I want viciousness. But so that is the challenge of this puzzle, though, to sort of complete it in a reasonable time frame. So we are gonna, you and I, Ravalox, we're just gonna slew past this door.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna pretend we completed it. Oh, actually, I can do this for you. There you go. I just.
Oh, you hit the button.
Yeah, I have a button on this side. It's unlikely that players will backdoor this whole mission, but if you are a player who completes this mission, then I mentioned there's 2 hatches to get in. The second hatch will be available, and potentially you can sort of go backwards if you want. And so I had to sort of factor in that you might want to go backwards. So I'll point out some things while we're in here. You can see that I'm standing on a crystal. There are some crystals you can mine here. There might be some mud or clay, I mean, and besides like chests and things like that. I have, there are certain areas where you can actually see beyond it, just to double check before you go there. We'll go here. I haven't seen any bad guys yet. There are bad guys. Go through here. There's some more crystals. These are blue ones. Bad guys randomly spawn. It seems like whenever I go through, there's never enough. Oh, here's a couple. Spawn right on top of each other. So we can see that they're renegades. They're dangerous dudes. We're gonna go this way. Probably we're gonna ignore them. I think. Are you in God mode? I'm in God.
Yeah, I'm in God.
Once again, we're cheat. So these renegades are obviously the first sign of the sabotage that Honora Jenkins dreaded. Here is another one of those doors that has a lock on it. We can see, if you look through to the back left, there's a chest. The chests in there are random, or they've been randomized a little bit. I just got a Port Harmony cistern key, so actually I can open it. There we go. So one of these chests is probably also locked. Yeah, so this chest right here in the corner is a locked chest. So the one over here, this plain one, it's actually not loaded up with goods right now, but it'll have I'll say, meager rewards, and the lock chest will have slightly better rewards. It's free. Don't expect like a ton of like awesome stuff. But so that's what it is. So there's some dead ends. We just found dead end. Now, here's a new type of door gimmick that I've created. So if we had went around a certain way, we would have come up to a door that we couldn't open, and it would have said it's barricaded doors. So this is the other side of the door. We could destroy the barricade and now open up potentially a fast way back. Oh, is there a guy there? Oh.
Yeah.
Hit him with your shovel, says Ali Yimbu.
Oh, do I have my shovel on me?
As a little footnote, we do have a new type of shovel, an explorer's shovel you can get from some NPCs, and you can equip it in your hands, and you can use it as a melee weapon. Bang, 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 like the shoveler from Mystery Man. It's a great character. Okay, so let's back on track.
Where'd you go?
Come back through the barricaded door.
Oh, okay.
We were basically going backwards by that. So back on track. There's some side rooms. We'll skip some side rooms. So here's another open area. The what I call a storeroom. Storeroom's a little bit flooded. Not too bad though. A couple of bad guys in here. We're gonna skip these bad guys. We're just gonna skip past them. Another spot where we can see through the next hallway. There's some side corridors here. Some of these things will lead to locked off rooms. What's up, lady? You're renegade. And then we're gonna come into this room. And you can see now we're in another threshold room. Before we go to the threshold room, what I want to do is we're gonna do a little side trip back over here. Just sort of pointing out that some of these tunnels are actually a little bit longish, so it might be worth your time to go through. Another one of those peekaboo hallways. Over here, it's a little hard to see with our lights on, but there's a porthole over here that can actually, you can look through into the next water-filled cavern. And if we keep going down the hallway, a lot of guys in this hallway. This is where all the guys were. And then just like instead of a storage room, it's another water purification console, just to keep in mind. All right, so let's get back on track. We'll go back to that threshold room. Past the porthole. What's up, buddy? Aurelius points out you can't use the shovel as deco. I think if I remember correctly, the plan is it will be. For some reason, it wasn't yet set up that way, but we will get on it. Another red button like normal, so we can take away the magical barrier. Mystical barrier. And now let's go in the water-filled cavern. See you later, suckers. So now we're here. Hold on a second. I see a tiny bug that I have to add to my little note page. So the bug is, if you look at the threshold where I'm swimming right now, inside at the top, at the far end of the corridor, it's a tiny corridor, it's a tiny tunnel. There's a yellow light. The yellow light lets you know that this door is open. And if you look up here at the next archway, there's supposed to be a yellow light up there. The light effect is there, but the crystal is not there. So I'm gonna have to fix that. So now we're the other, the previous water-filled cavern was sort of circular, maybe a little bit donut-ish. And this one that we're in is a little bit kind of a more of a U shape. So we're coming in, and there's more of these pipes. You can bump them or click them to succeed in sealing it. By the way, if you start sealing some of these and you don't finish, like maybe you have to get out because you're dying, or you just sort of get lost, If you return the way you came, you will actually reset all the open pipes, all the closed pipes. They'll all open back up. So the goal is to not go back. The goal is to keep going forward. Do all the pipe cap puzzle pieces, and then just keep going forward. So we're going through here. There's a few more fish. Again, I will have to double check to make sure that they will actually stay in the water. This may be obvious for some players, but if you look at the plants, they're the same plant type that we use in Port Harmony in the water, like in the ocean, especially. So trying to match it up. They're very similar to the ones in Viklin, not the same, but very similar. So eventually we get over here. We see the red light is up. So if you want to stay there for a second, even.
Okay.
Stay a second. And then if I hit the switch here. So there. Hopefully the light should have turned.
Yeah, it did.
Nope. Okay. So that was correct. So we have some bad guys right here. Because of the cold effect, we don't really have a lot of focus. So you got to keep that in mind. It would be hard to fight some of these guys in some of these areas. And cheating and cheating.
You did a kill.
I did. If you go to this side over here, there's another porthole. This one you sometimes can actually see something. Let's turn off our lights for a second. I don't really see it so well. You might be able to see the fish, maybe.
On the stream, it's kind of hard.
But... It's dark. But let's say if I was out there swimming around, you would see me, especially with my light on.
Right. Yeah.
So it's a nice little thing. I think the builder's built in. All right. So if you want to come this way, probably turn your light back on.
Yeah.
A couple of bad guys here. I'm just going to push past them. So we can, I guess, go down this side tunnel. Oh, we're passing a room with another water purification area. And this, the side tunnel has another one of these, those blocking bars.
Portcullis.
No, it's not something you can open. It's basically a wall. Oh, it's like a massive view port to the next hallway. So we're going to backtrack a little bit to get to this room where I am right now. And we're going to keep going past these pipes. Here's one of those doors that I mentioned. It's a barricaded door. So if you want to mouse over that door, you'll see the special message. Door is blocked from the other side. Another locked room, potentially with treasure inside. Scoot around. It's not too complicated. And then we find the barricade on that door we just passed. And then we're going to go in here. So this room right here that we're in, this tiny little chamber, it's a preparation area for most players. Probably, you fight a bunch of guys to just get them out of the way, like we're going to do right now. And then we're going to go in the last room. So when we go in the last room, Stephen, don't go too far.
Okay.
Okay, we're just gonna stand right here and enjoy the show for a second. So there's two renegades on the far side. They haven't seen us. I put in a bunch of conversation bits, so they seem to be talking back and forth to each other. They're trying to figure out how the water purification consoles work. For those players who like details, there's 5 of them in total. There's one at the start, one in the first dry area, one in the second dry area, which is we're basically at the end of the second dry area, and then these 2 over here. Now what we can do, we see this special doors here. They seem to be sealed. It's a door with a lock on the end. But if you mouse over this last lock, it says something is blocking this lock. So it's not going to use the same keys as the ones potentially we were using. So these two people now realize that we're here. And I'm cheating. There we go. They did. A door opens up, some of them spawn, and now we realize we're in a wave battle. We'll kill some guys right now too, I guess. But then we'll probably also cheat again. If I remember correctly, this wave, if we kill them too fast, within a minute, they'll repeat. And then after a minute, we're allowed to progress. So we do that sometimes in some wave battles, because if a player gets in there who's maybe just like way too powerful, then it's a way of sort of like limiting, keeping the progress from being like way too fast. I think we're probably doing okay though. I think we're going slow enough.
Yeah, I think so.
Otherwise, we'll just sort of.
I'm not really trying, so.
So this door is going to open up with the next set of waves. So there's kind of a pause. I think the pause might be too long. I guess it depends upon player experience. It's hard to tell sometimes. So there's some bad guys sort of popped up again.
The lady looks too happy.
Well, then I guess just kill her. Teach her a lesson. OMG, she ugly. No, not a rose. Cheating again. If anyone didn't notice, this is one of those sort of wave battles where the door closes behind you. So after we killed those first two people who were chatting with each other, the door closed. So it's sort of like it's either succeed or die situation right now. If we were to all die, that door would open up, everything would reset. And if we succeed, then once again that back door. Oh, I'm dying. The back door would open up, and also we would get the means to progress forward. Cheating. I'd like to announce it. If you're solo, you end up behind the door. It took me a while to realize there was a wave thing going on. Yeah. That happens sometimes. We don't really announce it. Sometimes you can sort of tell by the nature of the room. You know, like in a lot of games, you come to a room, it's sort of big, and it just sort of screams wave battle. So now we're in the final wave of this battle. Sometimes we call it the boss wave, even though there's not necessarily like a boss. In this case, Steven, if you want to face me, we can see there's someone called a Renegade Hydromancer.
Oh, yeah.
So this whole place is water themed. There's a Hydromancer. There's a couple water elementals. Seems pretty sus. Cheating. Okay. So while you work on the Hydromancer, is that your fire powers, I hope?
Yep.
Okay. Behind the scenes, the Hydromancer was originally like a normal spellcaster, and their powers are based on fire. So I just swapped the fire theme stuff for the water theme stuff, water and cold. And you made me panic for a second. All right, so now if you loot the Hydromancer corpse, it won't happen for us because we're not really in the quest. But if you loot the Hydromancer or the other two people from this last wave, you'll probably get a certain piece of evidence that's part of the quest, and you'll bring it back to Jenkins. and she said she wants sort of clarification on what's actually going on, and the evidence you find sort of supports that idea. So now we're gonna also cheat. We're gonna. Oh, did you get the key?
Uh-huh.
The
Oh,
not the storage key, but the
the
other key.
brittle one. Yeah, I got the brittle one.
Okay, so when you get that key, one second, I have to send this from my inventory. When you get that key, you should be able to use it on that lock.
And
Oh, there we go. Okay. So now there's a couple of bits of treasure. There's the door back here that also opened. So this is sort of like the back doorway. Now we're basically in the exit. And now we just get to see a couple of interesting things, nothing really elaborate. So this right here, these are the things I asked you to remind me about.
Okay.
This is the high pressure water. It's basically acting as like a door, and we can't get past. If we actually get too close, we take a lot of damage. Whoops, I died.
Huh. Look at that.
So don't walk into the high pressure water is the point right there. So the this is sort of part Easter egg. It's like half Easter egg and half extra reward from the wave battle. If you, so I'm sort of like gonna kind of give it away. If you do a certain something, or something's before you get here, then the water won't be rushing out, and you'll be able to move into the blessed cave. Cavern? I forget what I call it. And in that blessed cave, there is a reward blessing. Bane Rampage points out the high pressure water is bugged, so it won't let you through. Yes, that's correct. It is bugged. I put in a fix today that'll go in very soon. So there's a reward blessing in there. There's nothing else in there except the reward blessing in the big open cavern. Reward blessing is a new type of reward blessing. It's actually one that I guess we created a while back, but we never sort of finished the prefab piece to place it. So I completed it, and it is a water attunement reward blessing. So if you're into water attunement type stuff, then there you go. That'll be in there soon. It will be available. Oh, you see our bodies right there because we got killed. So now let's continue through the exit. We have a switch over here. Do that switch, and now we can pass through this. Boop. So we're not going to leave on the ladder, but to let you know, this is the access area for that second hatch in Port Harmony. So I told you about that. There's a second one that's stuck that will only open. You can only come in once you complete the quest. Actually, right now, if we wanted to, if we were in Port Harmony, we can get in through that access point. But you don't literally have to fully complete the quest. You just have to get the evidence. So here we go. We're going to keep going a little bit just to kind of see what's back here. More pipes, a flooded room. You can kind of see now while it's flooded, while it's here. It's a break. Also a slime up here. I'm gonna rush past them. Another doorway with the switch that I just hit. Go through. And now, you don't realize yet, but this is basically, we are back in the starting area. Hello, Jenkins. So we can turn in the quest to her here. If we didn't want to turn it to her, if we actually exited to Port Harmony, don't worry, you don't have to come back here. You can actually turn in the quest to Jenkins up in Port Harmony. She's actually up there as well. She's quick. She follows you around. She's always in the cistern if there is a player in here who hasn't completed this cistern quest yet. If everyone in here has completed the cistern, then that's it. She doesn't have to be here, so she probably won't be here. Once you have unlocked the cistern, you can go through any amount of times you want. It's just like open forever. Ali Moo points out that there's a key on the wall over here. It is random. There are several random keys. This is another one of those storage keys you can get. And let me see, there's some other comments in here. The flooded room has a path that is flooded, but you can still get through it and then drop forever. Oh yeah, so that's another fix that I put in. So that'll be soon. That'll be sealed. In the flooded room, there's like a low hallway. We come in through like a high entrance area, and then we come down a ramp. There's actually a low archway down there that you could swim through accidentally, but that'll be blocked off with an upcoming patch. There's also a torch that's on the water in that flooded room that is lit by default. That actually won't be able to be lit anymore with the update.
There you go.
Yeah, the key over here is random spawn. It won't always be here. There will always be a key somewhere in the starting area. There will always be a key somewhere in the first dry area beyond the cavern, and there will always be a key in the last dry area somewhere. You can fish. Can you fish in the water-filled room? Did I not turn that off?
Huh.
I think maybe I don't care about that. Maybe that's all right. Alimu says yes. Yeah, we'll just leave it. Whatever. My mistake is your awkwardly fun fishing area.
Weirdness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fishing underwater.
I'm gonna take this key. We're basically done with it. We're gonna go over here.
Okay.
We are gonna see.
We do have some prizes to give away.
Okay. So let's lounge in this room while we give away prizes.
Okay.
So this is the office, the Minister of Coins office when he's here operating stuff, but he's not here. Jenkins is on the case, and she rarely is ever found sitting down anywhere. Oh, Alimu points out salt. Yeah, so a lot of this water. So Jenkins will explain to you what the cistern is all about if you sort of follow through like all the keywords. So the cistern, she's in charge of the canals as well, but what the cistern helps with, it helps managing water in all sorts of ways. It helps provide clean water, it desalinates water, it shunts wastewater to places where it's safe. It does a bunch of things like that. So so it's important and probably in Jenkins' perspective more complicated than it needs to be. But that's usually how anything that's assigned is becomes more complicated than it needs to be. But with your help, she's able to sort of solve issues. But so what we're going to do now is we can go to the prizings.
Yep. Oh,
why does this zone have so many rope bundles all over the place? It's easy decoration to place them. There's bundles and coils of rope in a lot of places. A lot of crates. Some shelves, some barrels.
Yeah.
The hydromancer is into bondage. And man,
oh, you never know.
No shame.
Okay.
Let's free rope. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's go down the thing. Do you want to read off some stuff?
What do you want? You want me to read the whole both?
No, you don't have to read both. Yeah.
All right. I'll go with the prize. You ready?
Okay. Sure.
All right. The prize. It says 2. Are there 2?
Yep. It's a set of 2.
So 2 beach towels with turtles.
That'll go to Chattel Aventari and Bridge Troll.
Nice. The next item that we're giving away are once again 2 beach towels with fish.
That's good. Ian Berry and Kendra Sadler.
Third item, once again, beach towels. 2 beach towels with shells.
Azurian Dufresnes and Orlonian.
Continuing with the beach towels, we have 2 beach towels with crabs.
That goes to Christ Pallid and Aurelius Silverson.
And then just to switch it up, the last item is a barbecue smoker cooking station.
There you go. And that goes to Minerva and Dutorum Taru.
Yeah. What's funny is that there's no doubles this time.
Yeah. Almost like somebody might have fixed that.
Yeah.
So
Belladonna Rose points out that the crates and barrels are not smashable. Yeah, I wanted a lot of stuff to not be smashable. You didn't necessarily need it. Kind of the substitute for that are the all the chests that I have in a lot of places. A lot of it's sort of blocked by a key, but you'll probably be getting a lot of keys this place. Something with the breakable crates that's good is that besides giving you loot, it sort of allows the player to change the space a little bit. It's just sort of an interesting thing to have a dynamic area, but also it can be a problem because you kind of have to make sure that you don't put anything on top of those breakable things. You have to make sure that the path grid sort of works out well, with or without. So there's extra considerations. Not a lot. Usually it's fine, but I didn't want to go the obvious way with like tons of broken crates. There's a couple here and there, I think, but not a lot. Could use more mimic energy, says Inufet.
yeah.
So I thought about mimics, and then I decided not to put mimics. Mimics, to me, in our game, for the most part, are in just like out in the wild. They are things that sneak in and aren't really placed there. They have made their way into these sort of like dark areas and sort of pretending to be chests. So it didn't really make sense here. However, I think at least in one spot I have a mimic that's essentially like a pet. It's not literally a pet following the guy around, but I in my mind it is like the sort of the guard dog of the dungeon, and it was intentionally there. So there are times I'm okay with the idea of them being placed. So it was an option that I considered for like a couple of moments, but then I decided I didn't want to do that here. And I also kind of considered like sometimes I might add a mimic for variety. And I was thinking, is there not enough variety here? Like I have like these different melee and ranged renegades, and is that all I have? And then toward the end we saw that there were the water elementals, and of course the puzzle has its currently cold damage effect, eventually sort of a suffocation, hold your breath kind of effect. So there's a way to die, a couple different ways to die. So that was my thinking, the mimic. If a mimic was actually somehow water themed, or if it seemed like it was purification themed somehow, then I might be more inclined to put it in. But it didn't really work with that kind of thing. Kind of like if you've been to Castle Atos, based upon some player comments, I added like a water elementals, and they're elementals that keep the place clean is their theme. So they're not actually bad guys. They sort of cruise around and sort of clean the place. That sort of made a lot of sense. I almost could have did that here, but I wanted to have the water elementals only as bad guys, and I didn't want to put air elementals. Mimic pipes. That would be neat. It would be neat to have like all sorts of different mimics, but the thing, mimics obviously as our chest, the chest animates and chases it around, and we don't really we don't have like mimics that are pipes or like anything else besides the chest and barrels. Right, chest and barrels.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, it would be interesting. I could have tried to put in some. So we don't really have fish. We don't have NPCs that swim in the water. Like I talked before about our surface swimming situation. Whenever a player gets into water, NPCs can't follow you, even your own pets. If that wasn't the case, I probably would have put like one sort of dangerous fish in each of the two water-filled caverns, and could sort of chase you around and bite you. But that would have been kind of like a piranha or something. But you already have like a chance to sort of get injured. I didn't want to sort of double up on it. Like you're dying from just being in the area, and then also something attached. I didn't really want to do that. It's kind of like if you're like in a room full of poison, and then things start attacking you. Like, well, why aren't they dying? First of all, and anyway, you don't really need to double up unless it's a room that like has nothing going on in it. It's like the room at the back end of the dungeon, and it's really just sort of like weird fun kind of a room. Or you can just sort of rush through it if you wanted to sort of get from, to some other sort of like Easter egg room or something.
Yeah.
The Oklahoma Pacu with the human teeth. Oh yeah, I saw a picture of that recently. Crazy. They're better teeth than me. So what else is on the list? That's Port Army, by the way.
What is that?
It'll get some bug fixes, like I mentioned already. Some little tweaks will probably happen like over time, like usual with new scenes. The next scenes I'll be working on are a set of small scenes, probably. One thing we sort of have in our what do we call that? Our big to-do list.
The roadmap.
The roadmap.
Yes.
In the roadmap, one of the things I'm supposed to be working on that I'll start. Actually, I kind of started. I'll continue. Is making a small little tutorial scene, sort of random encounter size that you'll be able to access from by talking to any helper automaton, which will be in most or all cities. Right now, there are only a few, but they'll be more and more important. So we'll add into more cities. So that'll be kind of an important thing. The first one will probably start with sort of like an inventory and looting situation, and the benefit of them is that if you sort of skipped over anything in the tutorial, this is now a way for you to sort of refresh yourself, and it also might elaborate on some things that maybe we didn't really sort of drive home in the tutorial or anywhere else in the game. So it'll elaborate some stuff. It'll still be bite-sized chunks, probably something you finish in like 5 to 10 minutes, but it'll be a nice little quick little scene. And then also along with that, some players have been talking about the Courage Club. They like Courage Club, and they'd like to see like more bad guys, variety of bad guys, more places to access, some other things like that. Maybe a quest related to it. Maybe also somehow adding Courage Club to the leaderboard. So we've been talking behind the scenes about how to do some of that stuff. Some of it's kind of easy, adding a variety of bad guys. I've already added in. It'll come in with a upcoming update. There'll be some variety to some of the bad guys. The leaderboard thing is more complicated. I still have to have like a solid plan of what I want tracked, and then do some changes to Courage Club to make it trackable. And then I'll sort of have to talk with David about if it can be done in the way that I envision it.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to have like an alternative, yet another leaderboard on that so players can track.
Yeah.
The tough guys.
Yeah, I really like that that concept that you guys were discussing. And
and a big thing would be adding in tougher guys, because it was okay to have the not so tough guys before, but everyone's so tough now. It'd be nice to have more. And I don't think I would limit the next set of tougher guys. I don't think I'd limit it to the episode 2 things. I wouldn't want everyone to be able to sort of get into it. Although I might add access to Courage Club into Port Harmony as well. So that's going on with Courage Club. And I also got in my mind, I'm probably a dummy for mentioning it, but I also started thinking we should have the opposite as well. Kind of like we have the Jack of Diamonds is sort of like a nice virtue venue where people of a certain negative sort of karma can hang out. And that's been around for a while. And then eventually I sort of did the opposite, which was the Manor of Mystery, which is where people of a certain positive karma can sort of hang out. And they're roughly parallel to each other. Courage Club is a place where you pretty simply, it's almost like a mini challenge dungeon. You sort of just fight one guy after another, progressively harder. If you get through all of them, you've earned some loot. You've gotten some positive courage, and pretty simple. What would be nice is if there was a way, some other type of test yourself area where you can sort of get negative courage. So I kind of, I don't know when or if I'll ever do it, but I kind of have in mind like a sneaky area, kind of like Courage Club, except it's about avoiding fighting and sneaking past guys. We don't really have like a great stealth mechanic in our game, in that you don't really see the, like cones of which ways guys are facing and that kind of stuff, alerts. But you can do certain things without getting caught, and NPCs will sometimes realize you're there. So potentially I could sort of manage some of that stuff, and if you sort of succeed in getting all the way through, or depending upon how far you get through, you might get a certain amount of rewards and negative courage. Negative courage, by the way, so positive courage is awarded when you meet a challenge that is greater than you, right? And then quest-wise or flag-wise, negative courage is when, simple way to say it could be, is when you meet a courage that is weaker than you. We don't have a great way to sort of balance that. So I sort of have it in two ways, which is if you're going to be a bully, like many of us against you, or like, I know I'm tougher than you, you better leave before I kill you, kind of a conversation part, you'll probably get negative courage because you're a bully. Or if you avoid combat, such as there's a way to get into the clink in Owl's Head. You can either go in through the front door, that's just sort of normal. If you go in through there's a back way through like the kitchen area, you can sneak in, and if no one catches you at a certain point, then you'll get some negative courage. And for those who like might be worried about negative courage, don't get hooked onto the term negative courage, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It is a score that can eventually be used for something else. Like, players might know that in some recent quests, I do track some virtue, positive or negative value, and change the quest, or whether or not you can take the quest. So there is some benefits to having a negative of truth or love or courage.
Right. Kellenor asked if we were intending to release any of the wish list items from the forums, which, yes, so we definitely go through those. I think actually one of them today has been moved into an intake state where we're going to actually process that. There's a ton of stuff coming in. I mean, there's only so many of us, so definitely a backlog. There's a backlog of a lot of stuff that needs to be done, especially on the forums. Tends to be a one of those things that takes up a lot of time and has to be followed through with, and as a cleanup item after we get other work done to try to, expand the game. But there's I'm just scanning as like crafted symbol cloaks, and then there's a designated loot bag. Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing that myself. There's a bunch of things in here that actually are viable. It's just a matter of us being able to slot them and get them done. As Keith had just mentioned a little while ago, that we have a roadmap that we have to pay attention to. So there's certain more major aspects of things that we've promised that we would get done by the end of the year, or at least start working on by the end of the year. So we definitely have to kind of balance that stuff between the more major mechanics and features, and then getting some of this other stuff in here. So especially when there's artwork that needs to be done. Scotty is working on stuff, but he's overloaded as well. And then real life gets in the way with a lot of things, as well as that. Which actually I'm going to take this moment to inject something that I've been working on. The ONBEs, of course, we gave out ONBE to Diablotine. Congratulations once again for doing the fishing contest on a monthly basis for, I think it's a year this month. Allium could probably give a better accurate thing on that. I think the anniversary is this month. So Diablotine earned an ONBE for that. We'll be sending out, actually over my shoulder someplace, I have the the certificate, and the medal has to go out and everything. But we also gave out ONBs for a number of the team members who have been working on the game for the last 4 years after the transition from Portalarium to Catnip. So with all that, I have done an audit of the people who have been awarded ONBEs since the dawn of time, and found that the Soda Wiki is a little bit inaccurate. So going to be making some changes there. I've promised Anpu that I'll be sending him an updated list. It'll be basically a list of the names. So basically, Anpu, if you're listening to this, what I'm assuming is that you'll take the names and reassociate the proper descriptions and stuff that are up there for these people, because I don't have all that data internally. So, but we'll get that all aligned, so that way the in-game rewards that are supposed to be tied to the ONBEs will be delivered. The people who have the ONBEs will get a medal in-game that's it's a necklace slot, so it's just the icon showing up, and then if you bring up the person's character, it shows that they're wearing the ONBE. We don't yet have in-game we don't have yet in-game artwork for that, but Scotty and I have discussed this, so that we're looking at possibly getting the actual ONBE medal and the CNBE medal into the game itself. So in addition to all that, created an ONBE plaque, which is basically a wooden plaque with the certificate that I showed on stream last month. Or earlier this month. So that'll be something that the ONBE holders will be able to display in-game as a deco item. A similar item will be created for the CNBEs, which is the Chaotic of New Britannia. That's the Dark Star Award, as opposed to the Lord British Award. And that one I have to do some graphic stuff on, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to get that done during release 117 sprint, to be distributed during 118. So that's pretty much that. That's actually a big effort. It took a long time to do all the auditing and figure everything out, get the artwork done, all those things. So this will all be deployed out along with bug rewards. Yes, I'm gonna. I know this is the second month. I'm 60 days into that as well. So I'll be sending out 2 cycles of the bug rewards this month as well. So that's my update for the moment. There you go. So, and I think Allium says something for wish list. Yeah, some of the wish list items are easy to say yes to. Others we do discuss. Some of them are not really feasible. So, as she was saying there, so some of them might sit in the list a while. And as I said, there's you guys can come up with ideas a lot quicker than we could go through them. So just keep that in mind. All right. Anything else that you want to add, Keith?
No, I think that's it. I hope people enjoy Port Harmony Cistern. If you see any bugs, feel free to report it. If any suggestions or wish list items, make sure to post them in the forums, whether related to Port Harmony Cistern or otherwise.
I think it came out really nice.
Thanks. I wish with the especially with the episode 2 areas, I try to sort of come up with like one big sort of fantastical element for each if possible. So like the Outlaws Run has the shifting maze. Vickland is just really huge, but it also has like that secret valley and a bunch of interactable things throughout the scene.
Right.
Grusk has a lot of it's a big cobalt city, which is we haven't really seen like an above ground cobalt city, and I put a lot of interactable things in there. Things, kobolds, like we talked about here. Cobalt. The theme of our kobolds are that they are gadget makers, so I wanted to put the gadgets all over. So the big fantastical scene situation here is the swimming aspect.
Right. That's not what I wanted. Okay.
I'll also mention that far in the future, some other scenes, there'll be like another Norgard-based scene, like probably mostly city, kind of like how Port Harmony is mostly city. And it'll be the third of the 3 Norgard colonies, wrong word, outposts, 3 Norgard outposts that are in the Strender, where Tangomire is the low class one, and Vikland is sort of like the middle class sort of one. It'll be sort of like the higher class one, with the people who kind of look more like Valhall. It's sort of a higher class, more permanent structures kind of thing. We'll also have an area that is a treacherous kind of mountainside, cliffside sort of thing that is has a big obsidian outpost there, stronghold. A lot of elves and trolls and things to fight. Yeah, those are kind of 2 things that are in my head right now. That it'll be a long time before I get it. So first, like I said, I got to work on those small scenes, like I got to work on the instructional scenes. I got to come up with a plan for the codex, so David knows exactly what I need for this sort of in-game encyclopedia UI element that'll have like all sorts of backstory bits and game mechanics help and stuff like that. See, some people will ask where Atos is. I'll just say, like, he's obviously not in the stream today.
Yeah.
He does more management stuff today than sort of like in-person stuff. He's still there. He's still the boss.
Yeah.
I chat with him just today and the past few days. So.
Yeah, I had a meeting with him as well. Geez, was it Monday? I think it was Monday or Tuesday.
So he won't really be at a lot of these streams. I mean, he hasn't been, but he's still there. He's in charge. Signs the paychecks.
Yep. Yeah, he's still the top guy. So I said I synchronized with him. As far as
we had lunch with him.
Right, with Lord British and everything. Richard.
Yeah.
And but on a day-to-day basis, I'm taking care of the operations and making sure the servers stay up and things along those lines, team meetings and things along those lines.
And he's still like a workaholic, so he's still giving himself like his own like the projects and stuff that don't relate to the day-to-day of Shroud the Avatar. So there's no.
So he's still there.
No illness or anything. If that's
in fact, he's
healthy as an ox.
Yeah, he was supposed to be on the stream with us on Friday with Richard and everything, but it turned out that he got piled up with phone calls, and he's
Atos. It's a weekend at Bernie's kind of thing. Ravalox moves his hand to sign the paychecks. Shut up, Darn Obscuro.
What, you don't
Mind
want
your business?
You don't want the raise? But no, he's still there, and one of these days I'm gonna have to put him in a half Nelson and get him on the stream with us as well.
Yeah, he'll be back. It's just kind of random. He'll be back on the stream. That is, I mean, he's never.
Yeah.
He's always in our hearts.
Whenever he actually frees up time, he immediately fills it up. Which actually I don't blame him for this because I do the same damn thing. I oversubscribe, and I put a lot more on my shoulders than I should probably do. And
use all that rope we find, hog time, and bring him in. I don't want to hog time and bring him in because he just does too much.
Yeah.
All right. Are we all done with the prizings? Is that all done for today?
Yep, we're all done. I have a raid set up here. It looks like Coswald is streaming. I don't. He might have stepped away for a second, but I think we'll send over everybody over there. Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
And of course, we'll see you at minimum at the end of August when we do release 117. This again, as a reminder, this release coming up is going to be concentrating on bug fixes and polish. But I believe that there's still some new content that we might be getting in. We were targeting something else for release 116, but didn't quite make it. This isn't really a secret because we kind of talked about it, I think, in on the last stream. So basically, treasure maps are coming. The treasure hunting system, and it is a system, and it's been a lot of work. Devil Cult's put a lot of time and effort into this.
Yeah.
And so I won't go into too much detail because I know there's some stuff that we'd rather have be something of a surprise. But of course, you guys are going to get time to test this on QA.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he feels like he's really close to being done. Everything looks great, and then we realize something isn't exactly right, and it turns out that there's a
right
something underneath, a bigger picture underneath that isn't working how he wants.
Exactly.
So he's like, oh, I got to rip out a bunch of stuff and fix
Yep.
things. So,
And just to explain that, I mean, normally I know we do more QA builds that the players can get to, and recently we've been doing basically one a month. That's because of all the work that we're doing, and we're actually testing internally. The team's getting together, we're getting on QA, and then we're going through the stuff. If we find things that need to be adjusted, we'd rather get those fixed before we go and publish it to the players. So like, yeah, we know about that. Yeah, we know about that. So that's what was going on like this month, actually, and the last month as well, with different aspects. So on this one here, the treasure hunting, we went through it. We found some things that needed to be adjusted, made some suggestions to improve it as well. So we feel that in the next couple of weeks we'll probably be able to get a QA build together that'll have a testing directive for the treasure maps. The directive actually is already written, so we just have to get it to a point where we could publish the server and get that out to you guys.
I'll also add that for players familiar with Port Harmony, you may have realized or read about Selic, the treasure hunter character. He's not there right now. The reason why he was pulled is because he relates this some of the things that need to be corrected, and we want to. He couldn't be in there without big changes so it was easier to just take him out and sort of we'll put him back in when everything gets fixed.
Yeah, basically everything's already hooked up, so we just basically disable the people who would lead you into the system. So
yeah, he sort of connects with the system. He also has like a bunch of hints on how the system works. So there would be a lot of conversation changes that we really want to do. Little side note, it's not a secret, I guess, a little unknown fact is that I'm also adding these junior treasure hunter children to Airy, Arteris, Castellatos, Central Brittany, and Resolute, and they'll give similar hints to Selic. It's kind of like a scouts, junior scouts kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they share some of his tips and tricks. They don't give any quest or anything. Selic will have a quest, but they will point everyone like, if you want to know more about treasure hunting, you should go talk to Selic.
Yep. Okay, so basically, as I said, I don't, we would love to stream more often than once a month, but obviously with the size of the team and the amount of work that we're trying to get done, it's hard to get the time to do that. But especially with treasure hunting, maybe we could squeeze a stream in. No promises, but maybe we'd be able to do that. This is a bigger, more internally it's complex. It introduces new aspects, new functionality, new features and mechanics and things along those lines. So you know, if we could get it on QA and then maybe get some time, we'll throw together a QA stream and walk through some of the stuff as well. You know, take one of the basic maps and walk through how that works. But if not, then we'll definitely see you for the release and cross our fingers that treasure maps will be ready and that'll be coming out in 117. So we'll go from there. Sounds good.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to start the raid process here.
Thanks everyone for coming again.
Yep.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, definitely. Without you guys, we wouldn't have a game. So thanks very much.
Oh, we can still have the game. It'd just be super boring.
Oh yeah, it would only be the 2 or 3 of us
Just
playing it.
me and you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it says the raid is created. Where the heck is the timer for this? Oh, I'm doing this in the wrong window. That's why. Is it ready? There it is. Okay, it's ready. Okay. All right,
Claire,
cool.
we had 2 sets of prizes already. 2 groups of prizes.
Oh yeah, we did the prizes already. So, although I don't know. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, thanks a lot, guys. See you later.
All right, bye.